0-0, uno punto, 1 point in the bag. First time at home where our point scores hit a snag. We needed a step up, holding out for a hero, but up stepped our goalie, Don Alfonso, keeps it 0. Alfonso Herrero, El Rey Portero. Try to find a better double save this season, I dare you. A palm to his left, a foot to his right. Stopping Malaga's night, turn into shite. But let's move on from that Saturday night plight and get ready for our big provincial fight. Don't be nervous, and I'm not going to scare you as Malaga head up to Antequera, a local derby, the bragging rights, a local duel, a game to decide who's the region's football jewel. Hopefully Malaga are the boys with the crown after those nasty Antequera fans cheered us going down. But let's go to the pod and discuss a potential score with Chris Marquez and Alex Ashmore. Good day, everyone. I'm Matt Harrison. You are listening to the Geary Cast on Sport Direct Radio, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there. And as I said at the end, there is just the three of us today. Good evening, Alex Ashmore.
Good evening. Good to be back after my week sabbatical. I'm in Madrid. And yeah, it's good to be back in España.
Yes, bienvenido. Welcome back. How is Madrid so far? How long have you been there?
I've been here just under, it's Wednesday, so I've been here a week exactly. It's been good settling in. Signed myself up to a five-a-side football team, which is good. I don't know if you've heard of FC Britannico.
I have, yes.
So it's a few of those lads. They have like an evening five-a-side thing on a Thursday. So going to be playing with them tomorrow. Got cancelled last week because of the rain. But yeah, it's been good. And I start classes on Monday. So looking forward.
They have like a proper 11-a-side team as well.
They do. Yeah, they have a proper, and I believe they're in the 7th, maybe 8th tier of Spanish football. And they play on like Sundays against teams around Madrid. But yeah, this is a few of the guys who either used to play or just play casually. So yeah, going to be playing with them on Thursday evening, sort of 5-6 aside.
Excellent stuff. And someone that's not new to Spain is still with us, is Chris Marquez. Chris, how are you?
Doing very well.
Good.
Actually,
just before you move on, I'm liking your pink coat.
Yes, I'm dressed like a lollipop tonight.
No, I think you look
Or
like a
flamingo.
Like a colourful Liam Gallagher.
But you know what the thing is? Real men wear pink.
Yeah.
So I might call myself a real man, but I'm wearing pink. And Feyenoord won today.
Yes, I saw against Lazio. I bet that was a quiet night at the opera.
Yeah, it was a very quiet night at the opera. Feyenoord smashed them pretty hard. 3-1.
What was it? 2-1. Okay, I missed.
No, 3-1.
Oh, 3-1. Congratulations to Feyenoord. I was looking through what shirt shall I wear tonight. I put something different on. I thought, well, it's a Malaga podcast. It's got to be Malaga or a Spanish shirt or something. I could have put my Feyenoord shirt on. Maybe in one of our quick breaks, I'll see if I can run and find it.
So, Alex, what classes do you start with on Monday?
On Monday, it is, I believe, digital journalism. I think that's the first class. And as I think I've mentioned it to you before, one of my teachers is Alex Kirkland of the Spanish Football Podcast. So looking forward to starting in his classes. Yeah, it's a whole different, written, media, radio, TV, the whole width of journalism.
Alex, this podcast is a classroom. We're in a classroom now.
Yes. I know why you're doing that kind of stuff. When there's no better way to learn it through the GearyCast.
It's true.
My worry now is that Alex is going to come back with all his lecture notes and start telling us what we're doing wrong.
Well, I think it could help us.
Yeah.
The only thing, if they say, "Hey, Alex, we have a room left at the Spanish football podcast."
Good.
Don't forget you have a class with the GearyCast. You have a contract, so you can't leave.
I think it's going to go more like, Alex, we have a space on the Spanish football podcast. Can you have a word with Chris Marquez for us, please?
Yeah, no, my loyalties are with the GearyCast.
Yes, it ain't happening.
Okay, I think I say this most weeks at the moment. There's sort of lots of like bitty news again, and there's some things we could have gone over again. So you guys can disagree with me or tell us if we've missed something out, but we'll just run through some headlines again in a sort of random order. I usually try to put them in some order, but there wasn't sort of any logical order this week. So just quickly, we'll go through them. Some of this stuff we've discussed before, but perhaps the biggest news of the lot this week is Marca believed that La Rosaleda will be awarded as one of the host cities for the 2030 World Cup, which they are reporting that the cities that are going to miss out is Murcia, Gran Canaria, Vigo, San Sebastian, and Gijón. Stupidly, I've not made a list of the teams which are going to get, or again, the cities are going to get it. I think I could probably name them all, though. But Alex, does that list make sense to you? Those ones that have been excluded? And is there anything? Again,
yes, I mean, sorry, you carry on.
I was just about to say, I just want to reiterate, this is reported, not confirmed.
Yeah, so just to confirm the list that I'm sure you could reel off the top of your head. We've got the Bernabeu, obviously, Metropolitano, Camp Nou, or is it the Spotify Camp Nou, as it will be called?
I guess.
The Stade Front, La Cartuja, San Mamés, Riazor, La Rosaleda, La Romareda, and Mestalla. So, to be honest, I think some very good stadiums. The one I'm not aware of, Stade Front. What stadium?
That's Espanyol's ground.
Right. Okay.
I thought, I might be wrong, but I thought it was called Stage Front, as in I thought it was called like the English company name, but I might have misread. Maybe it is Stade Front. I think it's Espanyol.
Does it surprise you guys that there's no island on it?
Yeah, a little bit. I think the Gran Canaria one might have been quite fun, but I think
because if I go through the list, I would change probably La Romareda.
I think the thing with La Romareda is I think that's being renovated as well as La Rosaleda. So I don't know if Gran Canaria had a plan to renovate too. I guess they have to because it's quite an old stadium. But yeah, that's probably the switch I would make actually, because I think the north of Spain are represented with San Mamés and the the northeast of Spain, the two Barcelona stadiums, which I sort of get why there's two Barcelona stadiums as well. I think it's good that there's one in Galicia in Riazor. So yeah, I think that's perhaps the change I would make as well, actually, Chris, if I had to make one, because I think San Sebastian would be great, but you've got San Mamés as well. So
yeah, I still don't understand this exclusion of Benito Villamarin and Sanchez Pizjuan. But it just seems bizarre to me.
It is bizarre.
I think that's the city's choice, right? The city's opting to host that.
Yes, but I think the Spanish Federation has some sort of deal with La Cartuja, isn't it? And I suppose maybe I don't think the deal runs for the next however many years, but I'm sure it's going to be like extended and they're repaying their faith in them. I don't know, but
would it be fair if Sevilla would get like two stadiums on the list? And then, because if I go through the list, which other stadium would, I don't know, fall if Sanchez Pizjuan would be on the list as well?
Yeah.
I would say La Rosaleda has the biggest chance, I guess.
Yeah, I guess because we are sort of the southwest of Spain representatives, I guess. Certainly the coastal southwest of Spain. So
I think it's normal that they're going with one. And if it's La Cartuja or Sanchez Pizjuan.
Yeah. And I suppose then like Betis' stadium, I think, is bigger than Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. So then I don't know, it is the argument, why doesn't Betis get us a bigger stadium? And I think, don't want to admit stadiums before.
Does it really matter? Because if this list is correct, the World Cup is coming anyways to Seville.
Yes, exactly. And I think that stadium is bigger again, isn't it? La Couture. It's just the fact it's a big sort of almost like Olympic style stadium, isn't it? It was for the, what do you call it? I think they opened it for the Expo, didn't they, in the early 90s? Don't hold me to that though. But yeah, I'm sure when that list is definitely confirmed, we can talk about it a bit more. I'd be surprised. I think I've always been quite confident that La Rosaleda will be on it just for the infrastructure of the area more than the stadium itself. I think it's, it's an airport.
Although it would be so nice if the stadium was next to the beach. Like that would be... No, but honestly, the place it's situated now...
I like where it's situated. I like it sort of being in that sort of area.
Really? I like stadiums who are in the center of cities.
Yeah, but it's not. I would say that's pretty central, personally. I know.
When you go to Eindhoven and you step out of the central station, you have the Philips Stadium on your right-hand side, which is, I don't know, it's magical or something. It's just there in the middle of the city.
I've not been to the stadium, but I have been to Eindhoven, and you're right, it does just sort of pop up, which is that's fun too. But I'm quite happy where La Rosaleda is located. It's I you know me. I like my little walk with my can of Victoria down the riverbank. So maybe I would, if I was just sitting on the beach waiting for kickoff. I don't know. Maybe that does sound quite nice, actually. Now I think about it, but never mind. La Rosaleda is not moving. It can stay where it is. Just quickly, I'm talking about another stadium by the riverbanks. I put this in the running order, so I'll just say quickly. We're playing Barakaldo Wednesday, the 1st of November, because that was, I think last time we recorded, that was unconfirmed. What date? 6 p.m. I emailed the club. I got a response from the club. Tickets are on sale Friday for that, so I will be there for that. I'm very much looking forward.
I think you're one of the few who will be there for that.
Yeah, I will be there. I know there's a certain hardcore following, is there? I know there'll be some familiar faces there. It's quite funny, isn't it? I feel like the hipster kid, because everybody's fighting for a ticket to Antequera, admittedly including myself. I did put myself forward for it, and I didn't fight. Well, you didn't fight. We can perhaps we can talk about that later. Your luck. I'm going to Future World Cup Stadium, probably San Mamés as well. So I'm very much looking forward to that trip. And I guess I will do a Vamos a Barakaldo, whatever that stadium's called. And I'll just throw some headlines your way, and you can respond. This was quite a sad story, because there's a player I really, really liked in Malaga, but Juancar, the sort of flying left winger that played for Malaga for a few seasons. He was hospitalized on the weekend in the Greek derby between Olympiacos and Panathinaikos, because it was played at Olympiacos' stadium. A firecracker was thrown on the pitch, like the touchline, when he was warming up, and such was the noise of it. He basically lost. It said partial loss of hearing.
Yes.
I don't know if that's like come back yet.
Can you call it a firecracker if you lose your a partial of your hearing? I mean, isn't that
True.
just a bomb?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that, actually, Chris. When I was reading it out, I was thinking, can I say firecracker here? I think I might have translated that word. Crazy. It's I really, really like Juancar as well. He was one of my favorites when I first started going to watch Malaga.
This might seem strange what I'm going to say. I love a bit of firework in the stadium.
But
obviously not if it hurts people. I mean,
no.
I do like fireworks in the stadium. I grew up in Rotterdam with Feyenoord. If there is no fireworks in Rotterdam, something is going wrong. But yeah, when it hurts people or players, even it's rival players, I don't think that's a good... I totally disagree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You very much told the line there, Chris. I was thinking, is he going to say something which I'm going to have to try and
No,
speak
but in
up?
England, they don't really do fireworks, are they?
No,
No, it's not really a thing.
it's just
You
not a thing.
You get flares, but no, not fireworks.
Even flares, like they're so, like I know someone who was at an away end and got handed a flare. He literally went, "Woo!" waved it about for a bit and got banned from his club for 3 years and traveling away to watch football. It's just crazy.
Blimey.
Yeah, because he got caught on CCTV for like 5 seconds doing this, and you think, wow, it's like that. That's how that's the complete other way, isn't it? Because like as I've said, I lived in, like you said about Rotterdam, Chris, I lived in Central Europe for a bit. I saw all sorts of shenanigans in the stands there, but it was always controlled enough. I never felt like endangered by flares and.
To be honest, I'm not sure if it's controlled.
Oh well, yeah,
because it's hard to control, but it's not like being thrown at players.
Yeah, that's taking it. You can't do that, and obviously, I haven't heard an update yet, but I saw like, oh wow, that's really bad. And of course, throwing anything towards a player is bad. And then I saw like loss of hearing. I was like, bloody hell! Like you said, it must have been a hell of a bang on that, but. Yeah. I was, to be honest with you, the other thing with this story was I was quite surprised he was still at Panathinaikos, because he left quite a while ago, and it's I don't think he was too young when he left Malaga. I don't think he was a kid.
I always really liked him.
He seems a cool guy
because he brought a lot of danger, and definitely because we had Sifu and Pankar, the both of them were just, I don't know.
Yeah, they were fun. They were, because that Victor Sanchez team and the sort of, the teams before that, they were not perhaps the most attacking, but those two sort of did bring threats from the wing. Yeah, they were great fun. I always preferred, like, I thought Juanca's left foot was just beautiful, like his crossing and stuff. So
yeah, but Sifu had a nice long pass and a nice shot at target.
A nice hair.
Yeah, he still has nice hair.
Nice hair, yes. And then just quickly, I don't know what to say about this one. And this was something that surprised me when I read it just before we pressed record. First of all, San Miguel have extended their partnership with Malaga until 2025. Apparently, that partnership's been going for 60 years, which I was like,
yes. They always used to have in the old stadium, when you go through the old pictures of La Rosaleda, at the scoreboard, the old-fashioned one, you would see San Miguel on top.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But I think you're missing something.
Go for it.
Isa Marino is going to the World Cup.
No, I haven't missed that. I've got that written down. Come on.
But okay.
I was going to ask.
I'll let you host again.
Again. Okay. I even said this before. I've got 2 stories left.
Okay. I thought you were done, so.
I was going to ask a light-hearted question about do we like San Miguel, but I feel like I'm going to have to move on now because I'm not.
It's not bad. I like Victoria better. And,
yeah, I think as an Englishman, I've been put off by. I don't know whether it's obviously better in Spain because you get it so much exported in pubs in the UK that you kind of get that taste of, crap San Miguel that's been exported. It's not the best beer in Spain, but it's better when it's in Spain.
See,
I'm an Englishman. I'm a peaceful Englishman.
I've gone the opposite route, sort of. Like when I was back home in, not in England. Well, actually, I lived in England for a bit, but in Wales, San Miguel was quite sexy and fun, and I thought so. I quite liked it. And since I've moved here, I don't like it as much. I think if it's in a bar, I sort of go, "Oh, that'll do," but I don't get excited about it.
I'd much rather like a Estrella Galicia or Victoria or Mau or something like that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't find much Estrella Galicia here in Malaga on draft.
That's true. I will say, like when I did the Camino in the summer, that's just
that makes total sense.
It's gone to my number 2 in Spanish beers now. It's sort of probably joint second with Mau. I heard Richard Archer, who is the lead singer of Hard Five, for those that don't know, on the Moon Underwater podcast, where you have to pick your dream pub. And he picked Mao as his dream beer, and he talked about it very well, and it made me really want Mao. But Alex Ashmore, you have plenty of Mao ahead of you, it seems. In
I do. I think I have that job of telling people, Brits that come over here, they've got this Madrid beer back home. It's called Madri, and I have to go, no.
I think it has been a partner for like 60 years, and they're not letting Malaga down.
Yeah.
But that's also a reason to hold back the beer from Malaga, who are now Spain's national partner, and are a partner of Las Palmas.
Yes, I do have a lovely little glass, which I think I got in Mascom when I bought enough Victoria, and it's got the Spanish badge, national team badge on one side and Victoria on the other. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite glasses, but I've gone with my Malaga glass today. This is water, by the way. It's not vodka. Before, because I know people probably make those jokes. Chris, I don't know if you've heard, Izan Marino called up the Spanish under-17 squad for the under-17 Cup.
No. Really?
Well, I never.
Yes. It's such big news, I wouldn't forget it. But just quickly, Chris, as well.
Did you hear that Izan Marino has a sanction of 4 matches after receiving a red card last weekend against young Torremolinos?
I didn't know that, actually.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. He's got.
Told you I had something. But yeah, he is not able to play for the upcoming 4 matches, and he's going to the World Cup.
4 matches seems like a long time.
My question is, does it count while he is at the World Cup?
Good question. I don't know the answer. I'm sure there's lots of like loopholes where it does count in some places, I think, but I don't know.
I think that's the biggest question, isn't it?
I think it might be games he's available for. I don't know. Quickly, I'm just gonna cover you as well, because a couple of weeks ago you claimed he was a midfielder, and Luke Chambers was very insistent he was a centre back, and he made I
always said he's a centre back.
Okay. I thought I was just in case people are listening, going, here they go, they're going to say wrong things when he's Izan Marino again. I thought I would just cover it up that we know.
I can see Carl Smith writing in now. That Belgium, he doesn't know anything.
I always said he was the first podcast we talked about him. Yeah. When everybody said, who's Izan Marino? I said, well, he's a centre back, one of the biggest talents, and being a centre back, but it doesn't matter. I don't mind. Go ahead.
And then just quickly, I looked at the squad, by the way. So for those that don't know, the Under-17 World Cup is in Indonesia, which I think is quite a fun place for like a youth World Cup. Lots of Real Madrid and Barcelona players, including, again, Alex, I don't know if you want to get involved here, Mark Guiu, or Gui, the guy that scored on the weekend for Barcelona with his like second touch in senior football. Is it Gui or Guiu?
I'm not sure, because I think it's Catalan, so my pronunciation in Catalan is not. I couldn't claim to be an expert, but I've seen all of the stuff going around about. I do love I saw a tweet: is every Barcelona youngster that comes through seems to have some sort of blurry photo with Messi, similar to Ronaldo. To Real Madrid youngsters seem to have some sort of blurry photo with Ronaldo. Made me laugh.
Yeah, it's
Are you allowed to talk about Barcelona being on the Real Madrid academy?
Well, they're sort of yin and yang, aren't they? You can't talk about Real Madrid without Barcelona and vice versa, I would say.
True.
It's like the Force, and you just decide which one is the light and dark side, I guess.
I think there is no more boring thing to talk about in football than Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Well, it depends what's going on there, I guess, doesn't it? When it's so down your face, shoved down your throat so much here, it does get a little bit stale. But You don't have to.
I'd rather listen to my own piss than listening to talk about Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Well, there you go. We can sort that podcast out. There's definitely a market out there for that. I'm sure.
I could record a month me pissing and then post it as a podcast.
You could say what you've drunk before to make that noise.
Yes, to make it more spicier. I'm going to say sorry because I know people don't like me talking like this.
Anyway, just quickly as well, what I was going to get to is lots of Barca and Real Madrid players, lots of La Liga or Primera players, and then Izan Marino is very much an outlier as one of I think the only player from the third tier, but there's also a Baskonia player, the fifth tier, and I forgot the guy's name, but he stood out a bit as well. And then I do have one more thing just to bring up, and again, it's to do with a young centre back having a big debut this week, but sadly, it's not for Malaga. Dean Huyson, formerly of Malaga, made his debut for Juventus at the San Siro. What a place at centre back as well. That seems, if you're playing in Serie A, that's amazing.
Can we tell the story now about Dean Huyson, Matt? Because we didn't say that. We don't?
I don't know the story, so you're going to, and I'm going to hope it's appropriate and okay to record.
Oh no, it's appropriate, but it's information that
I'll go for it.
Comes from you, and we never said it on the pod.
Oh God, now I'm worried.
No, it isn't that bad. Okay. That he could go to Real Madrid, but he didn't want to go to Real Madrid because all his teammates and he thought the Real Madrid academy was too. What was it?
Okay. Before you carry on, Chris, can we say allegedly? I hear this allegedly. Yes. From a source I know that knows Dean Huyson before. Yes. Just to cover my back a bit here, I don't know if this is true. I don't know Dean Huyson, but yes, I was told that there was an opportunity. It sounded like all the big clubs in Europe are after him, and I believe I read somewhere like Fabrizio Romano has been saying that even since he's gone to Juventus, Barca and Bayern have tried to sign him, and but yes, allegedly he turned down Real Madrid, but I can't remember why.
It's unlike Barca to try and sign someone under 30.
Because they all didn't like Real Madrid because it was too hard and they didn't like the people there, the way they were treating the players.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Again, allegedly, I'm just going to keep saying that to cover. When you said, I thought, what? But I do remember saying that now, yeah. And also,
you shouldn't cover yourself because if you look in Spanish media, I think there are worse things being said.
Yeah. And also, I'm a big guy. Yeah, true. That's true. I've lost... I kept talking last season about my source at Malaga Club de Football. They had to say I've lost that source now. Second-hand source. But it was very useful last season. Someone just kept telling me stuff which a certain player was saying, and that player's no longer there. So... you can try and work it out if you want. I'm pretty sure I named the player once by accident.
Have you now got a source for another club in the same division as Malaga?
I don't think so. Do I?
In terms of where that player's moved to.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yes. But I don't really ask as much.
We won't say it.
Yeah, we don't ask as much questions about that club. I was just going to give a shout out to Dean Huyson as well because he grew up in lovely Marbella.
But he's a Dutch guy. Let's not forget. Yeah. But I've also read that although he spent his whole life going through all the Dutch national teams, it's unlikely that he's going to end up playing for Holland. It seems that he will play for Spain eventually.
Is that what he wants to do? Is that his choice?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Is he born in Spain or Holland?
No, Amsterdam. He's born in Amsterdam. He moved to...
Grew up in Spain, really.
Yeah, he moved here when he was 5. So, that's...
He also he lived in Marbella?
Yep.
Yeah.
He did indeed. That's why I give him a shout out. He's a fellow Mobay.
And a fellow Dutchman.
Yes, and Alex can, I don't know.
No, but it's insane with his age. Making your debut as a center back, he always was really good. He always was one of the biggest talents of football in Spain.
And obviously Juventus won as well, and Massimo Allegri seemed to have very nice words to say about him too. And this actually seems like a good place to end the news section, talking about all these young kids, because in the next section we are going to talk about Malaga taking on those young kids of Real Madrid Castilla. Okay, so obviously it was a 0-0 draw. Sort of, I don't know, I was going to say it wasn't a dull 0-0, but not the most exciting 0-0 either. But we'll start with the big positive again, a sellout crowd. I know people go, oh, but it said 25,000 on the attendance thing. Yes, but
there are also season tickets holders that aren't going, have to work, have birthdays to attend to, have other things to do.
But also, I can't remember who I saw mention this, and I agreed that, like, when I saw that 25,000 come up, obviously I've got a pretty good view of that stadium where I am. I was looking around and thinking, I can't see 5,000 empty seats in here. It did feel a lot. I'm not saying every seat was taken, but it seemed.
It looked sold out.
Yeah. So I don't know how those are worked out, but. And, like you just said, Chris, there's obviously going to be season ticket holders or people who have bought tickets and not turned up. But I was like, it was when the thing came on the screen, I was sort of like, what? Because I thought we were going towards like a 28,000 attendance. But
the question is, how many disguised Real Madrid fans attended?
True. Yeah, no, I actually don't know. It was quite interesting that I don't know if it was just because we were playing Castilla in the evening, but when I was in the city centre in the day, I was like eyeing every single person wearing a Real Madrid shirt with suspicion. Like, are you going tonight? Are you going tonight? I didn't see any Real Madrid shirts within the stadium, actually, which I have done before, even when Real Madrid Castilla aren't there. I've seen someone wearing a Betis shirt before, actually, but that was a kid, to be fair, so I shouldn't really criticize that. But the point I just wanted to make is just awesome effort from the fans again. Sorry to keep giving ourselves slaps on the back as well. And Chris, you were there for this one as well after it's not quite fallen for you over the last couple of weeks. Was it good?
It was a bit difficult to park.
Yes.
We drove around the stadium for an hour. And that's all. That also happens when you have a full house. No, they're not parking place near La Rosaleda, or not any parking place near La Rosaleda.
I take it back. It's a disgrace that it's sold out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the
also, Matt,
things. Okay, go on.
The atmosphere wasn't great either. I thought it was dull.
I think it's been better. I'll agree with that. I think it was really good at the start. I think the whole Porque te quiero chant thing has been really good now. That was good. But yeah, I guess that sums up the game though, doesn't it? It's just, I think real Castilla were frustrating to play against. Malaga were, performing frustratingly, and I think that just, soaked up some of the atmosphere almost, or took some of the atmosphere out of the ground, I guess. But let's talk about the game itself. We'll start with the starting 11. Loren was out, Roberto back in. We talked about, obviously, Juan de is out for a long time, so Ayrna was playing again, although I think he might have played the game before as well, now I think about it. And Manu Molina kept his place, Alex. What did you think of this starting 11?
Interesting. I think it's probably, in the Manu Molina sense. I think generally, other than that, the midfield, I think I would have kept the same. I think I liked the return of Dione and Roberto up front. I think I don't know whether it's something that we'll explore more as the season goes on, but we've had that one experience of just Roberto up front, and he seems to not do as well. But yeah, I think other than Manu Molina, I wouldn't have made any other changes, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think David La Rubia hadn't played the game before either. I think he came off the bench, so I think he was back in as well. Now I think about it. Chris, you were with me when we read the starting 11. Any new thoughts?
Manu Molina surprised me.
In a good way or a bad way?
Sorry?
In a good way or a bad way?
Is that a real question? Or are you joking with me?
Alex, you went on the podcast last week. I think it's fair to say he means in a bad way.
I assumed.
Not in a very good way, no.
No, so that was basically taking the place of, I suppose, Juanpe or Danny Lorenzo. Yeah, I suppose they were the two that missed out to him. And I don't know if there's rotation going on there, but Manu Molina's been in for 2 games now, and yeah, still not seeing it. Sorry. And I think I did sort of keep an eye on him a bit more in this game. And again, I don't think he was like awful, but just sort of not. He dare I say, he's taken on the Hozabed role very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like that's quite a good comparison.
Yeah, because I think he's in the similar position of him. I don't know, because obviously I didn't watch him at Ibiza, but they raved about him at Ibiza, and whether it's a fitness thing and he sort of didn't have a preseason with us, I don't know. Maybe this is the way to get his fitness up. I'm still not absolutely writing him off, to be honest with you, but I don't really want to see him in the starting 11 at the moment either. I think he could still maybe come good later in the season, but I'm
not seeing it now.
Okay. Yeah, but again, I don't know.
I don't see him and Gennaro together on the pitch.
Okay. Yeah.
You just lose a lot of creativity with that.
But that's the thing. I thought Manu Molina was meant to bring some creativity. That was my understanding of what sort of player he was. But like you said, I'm not really seeing it at the moment. I think he's quite neat and tidy in bits, but not again like sort of just pops up and plays a simple pass and then disappears for a bit. Anyway, to be honest with you, when I was sort of like compiling like what we could talk about in this game, there's really not a lot, to be honest with you. It was a pretty, like as Chris said, with the atmosphere again, like I think if you hadn't been to La Rosaleda before, you'd perhaps say, oh wow, this is a really good atmosphere. But I think compared to recent games, it was a bit flatter than usual. I would agree with that. And I think it is the performance. So Alex, what did you sort of just make of, I don't know, let's say the first half performance in general to start with?
Yeah, I think we've definitely, I wouldn't say it was our worst performance of the season. I think it was quite middle of the road, quite average. I wouldn't say either team were fantastic, but I think it seemed to be a bit cagey at times. I don't know what it is, because we've obviously played brilliantly against other teams, and we've been really attacking, but these last few games we've seemed to have hit a bit of a wall, or I don't know, we're not firing as we know we can.
Yeah, I think for me, we seem to have these we seem to be starting games quite well now, whereas I think remember those first few games like at Castilla and Atletico Baleares, we were sort of a bit slow out the blocks and we'd sort of work our way into the game. I think we're starting well at the moment. And like, it was when I was sort of watching the highlights back of this game, I was sort of like, I was like, oh yeah, we had quite a lot of chances in that first half. There's like a Roberto header that just goes over. There's the like close range overhead kick he sort of put over the bar. There's Kevin's shot from, a corner was played low to him. And I was like, oh yeah, we actually did okay in that first half, I think, without being scintillating. You were in the Fondo Sur, Chris. How did it look from there in the first half?
Boring.
Okay.
I just think we didn't create enough. The chances weren't big. We controlled the ball a lot in this match, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But when we got the ball, nothing really happened. And I don't know if that's good defending of Real Madrid or Malaga lacking creativity. But that's, I think, what I saw for most of the match.
Yeah, I it was only when I really watched it back, because obviously the same as you, the first half we were attacking away from the south stands, and it was only really when I watched back the Roberto like overhead kick, and obviously he did quite well to get it, to perform an overhead kick basically from close range, and that was a better chance than I realized. And maybe even a corner from the one I mentioned where they played it short to Kevin, and Kevin wrapped his foot around it and it just went wide. That was maybe a better chance than I realized too. But I'd agree with you. After that, it was Malaga looked sort of a bit like other games where I've not really been that worried, particularly in the first half. But usually we've found a goal from somewhere, like that in the Linares game, there was that amazing Victor Garcia cross which Roberto headed over, lobbed the keeper, and we've had sort of things go our way. And in this game, I don't think it did really. And again, I think you might be right, Chris. I think Castilla, I think it was them being quite good defensively after we'd blown those chances.
And attacking as well. They had pretty good chances.
Wow.
I think, and this will, Nick won't like what I will have to say about this, or have to say what I'm going to say. I've heard it on Sport Direct say someone after the match, just after the match, where he said like, we won against all the against the lower teams on the table, and now we are putting we had a bigger team in front of us, and now we see the real Malaga, that it isn't so good as we thought it was the beginning of the season. That against a stronger team, the real Malaga shows up, or we can see the real Malaga.
I agree to an extent. I have thought that for a while. I have thought like when we play these, obviously we go to Ibiza next month. Obviously Antequera are, not very far behind us at all. We'll talk about them a bit later, but I do agree this is the month where we learn a bit more about them. I do still think we could have won this game. Like, obviously, like it wasn't like clear cut like previous games. Because even like Melilla, we should have really hammered them, and we were really stupid in the second half and almost blew it. But yeah, this is the first game where we did just look a bit, again, I use the word flat after that sort of early flurry of chances. But yeah, I do agree. In the next month or so, I'm not writing them off yet, and I'm not saying now we're seeing the real Malaga, but I think we are about to find out how good they are as well. It will be interesting come the end of November, because I think we go, I feel like I can't think who else. There's another tough game in there. I know we got Cordoba at home. I can't remember. I think they're not doing so well, are they? But I'll have to check. I've got the league table in front of me now. Actually, I do have the league table in front of me. Let me just quickly look. Cordoba are 9th. I said Cordoba are 9th, and I think we end the month at Real Murcia, or certainly very soon after that. So they're just outside the playoffs as well. So and I think Algeciras the start of December as well, and they're just behind Malaga. So yeah, looking at these fixtures here,
but we also have Alcoyano.
Yes, and they're a little bit lower down, aren't they? At the moment, it's still fairly early days, isn't it? It's still quite tight. Let's. I think we're going to say let's get on to what is probably the highlight of the game. We'll talk about the second half in general in a second. But you said, Chris, that Real Madrid Castilla, they defended well first half, but I think as the game went on, they did get more confident and they were creating stuff, particularly in the second half where they got 2 shots on goal, but Alfonso Herrero was there to save both of them. Alex, how good were these saves?
They were world class, I think is probably the best word to use. I think to have that, I don't know what it is, because at that point, is it reflexes because it's coming at you so quickly? It's just second nature where he's sticking his leg out and he's like, oh, it's, not many keepers would have saved that. And I think without him, we probably would have lost. Well, we definitely would have lost.
He even, in between, he stands up.
Yeah.
Because he's down on the floor, he stands up and then...
Yeah.
Insane. In a second.
I think probably, obviously there's still loads of games to go, but we could chalk that up as save of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, in my little intro, I said, try to find a better save this season. I don't know if you will. Just the second one, like you said, he's sort of the way he's on the floor, and then that's just how quickly he gets up and processes what's going on and sticks that foot out. It's I think there's, again, actually, I don't know about you, Chris. I didn't quite realize how good a save it was until
I did.
Well, I saw the one with his hand. I thought, oh, what a save that was. And then I thought they'd shot wide. And it was only when I saw the replay back on, I know loads of people shared it on Twitter the next day, I literally sort of gasped. I was like, oh my God, I did not realize how good that was. I just thought
it was insane. It's world class, that save.
Absolutely. I think I shared it with you guys as well. I was very happy to find on Twitter, there's an Alfonso Herrero fan Twitter account, which has been following him for years, apparently. So I noticed they were just retweeting everyone that was praising that save, but it made me laugh that there is a Twitter account dedicated to him. I say laugh, but also I'm delighted to see it. He's been excellent, hasn't he, since perhaps those first 2 mistakes in the first 2 games, Alex?
Yeah, to be honest, since those 2 mistakes, I can't really think of anything that he's done particularly wrong. I
forgot them already. Did he?
Yeah, I think, I don't know whether this is bold of me to say, and I know this is a different level, but since we got relegated to Segunda, I'd probably put him up there as in terms of consistency so far. I know we've only played 10 games. It's hard to make those sort of statements, but probably the best keeper we've had.
I would say
together with Ruben Yanez.
Yeah, I think personally, I think it's still a bit soon to go. And I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way, but for me, it's a bit too soon. But I'd say of all the keepers they've had since I've been following them, this is the guy, and I keep saying it, when the ball's in the air and he's going up to catch it, I have no doubt. He's getting it. He seems to take it into the air all the time. And to be honest with you, I never used to think that was such a big deal. But I remember when Swansea got Fabianski, and Fabianski used to do it really well, even though he had this Flapianski nickname at Arsenal. And it did, once you got used to that goalie and you could see them taking flight and you thought, oh, they're going to catch it. It's very good for your heart.
The one thing that Ruben Yanez probably didn't do as well, I remember the game against Cartagena that we saw away, there was a few moments, and he did it more often throughout the season, where there was the ball's in the air, and you're a bit like, oh, is he going to get that, or is he going to make a hash of this? Yeah,
it's again, I didn't realize, probably one of the best saves I've seen at La Rosaleda. The best I've seen was, I still remember Munier making this ridiculous save against Sporting Gijon. I think Alvaro Vasquez he just basically went the wrong way, and because it was a deflection, and then Vasquez was about to tap into an empty net, and he jigged his feet and stopped it. He was mad. I'll have to dig it out just to see if I've remembered it rightly, but it was right in front of me. That's still my favorite. And I think it was to keep it 0-0 or 1-1 as well. So obviously Alfonso Herrero was, the man that kept us in the second half with that save. I've made a note of what went wrong in the second half. Were we worse in the second half? I personally think we were, but I'm happy to be told.
We created less. We brought on Lorenz Zuniga again. Not sure for what actually again.
Yeah. I was like, just kick. I was like, kick the ball in the sky. I didn't bring it down, but Yeah, you're right. I can't say I noticed him. I thought the Danny Lorenz. That was funny actually, where Gennaro got subbed and he was on a booking. So I'm not sure if he got subbed for being on a booking or not playing well, because obviously we talked before. Pellicer likes subbing off his booked players, and he brought on Danny Lorenzo, and Danny Lorenzo got booked like in 2 minutes, which is like,
I cannot say Danny Lorenzo was great again.
No.
It was not so bad as another player who came on as a sub, because that was even worse than Lorenzo Zuniga, if you ask me.
Okay, go on. Who are you talking about there?
Bilal.
Okay. What did he do wrong?
He only had a couple of minutes, though.
Yeah, where he lost every ball that came his way.
Okay. I honestly can't say I really noticed him. I might have not been paying attention by then. So
you should watch back the last minutes of Malaga against Real Madrid Castilla, and you would be surprised that he is actually a footballer. This time for real.
He played towards the end of last season a couple of games, didn't he? And I remember we talked about him in Biznaga sort of stakes in one game. So I
think his twin brother came on the pitch.
Oh, okay.
This wasn't Biznaga worth.
Juanpe came on as well. I quite like Juanpe now, because I read an interview with him, or he did an interview with what's he called? Siete TV, Malaga. And he seems like a cool guy. He seems like a nice guy. I liked it. They said something like, he talked about his favorite players, and he said, well, I like Zidane, Kaká, and Busquets, and I'd like to try and bring a bit of all of them to my game. But he sort of laughed about it, and I thought, yeah, well, we'd all like that.
On the Corazón Malaguista?
Pardon?
Was it on the Corazón Malaguista show?
I've seen, yeah.
If it's 7 TV, then it should be with my friend Alberto.
Okay.
I
read the interview back. I obviously didn't see it, but apparently, like, I didn't realize this. He played with Gennaro at Sevilla Atletico, so they know each other from there. Yeah, he's come across very well, I thought, from what I read. Just quickly then, before I put this question in there, Alex, since you are working for the opposition in this
yeah, I'm the opposition reporter, aren't I?
You think Castilla were the best team we've played at home so far? Because I think they're the team that put us on edge the most.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the best. I feel like this is probably one of the more disappointing performances from Malaga we've seen. I think there were obviously chances that they had, but I think it's always going to be the case with B teams when I think they've got an average age of 20, and for some of those players it might be the first time playing in front of a crowd that's more than 1,000. So some of them I imagine would have felt that pressure, but I think they showed some promise and created some chances, but nothing that's going to be nothing that I would write home about.
Yeah, I did sort of find a bit of the game where I was just out of curiosity, I was just watching Teo Zidane, and he was quite good actually. He's the bit I was really paid attention to him. He seemed to be doing bits. I quite like the look of him. And talking of, like you said, the crowd, Raul, who we mentioned last week, the manager, he spoke very fondly of La Rosaleda and said how great an experience it was for his players. And he said, this stadium doesn't belong in this league. It should be in the top league. So not that we get points for that.
Do you guys want to talk about the ref?
Do you know what? This is interesting because I didn't think the ref was great, but I don't know if I've said this, quite a lot of my students this year are going to watch Malaga now, which is quite interesting how they've got relegated, and they do seem to love it. And all of them, the first thing they asked me on Monday was, say, I think one of them said, do you think the ref's a con man? I think was one of their phrases. I'll be honest with you, I hadn't really clocked how bad he was. Maybe it was the Victoria in my system, but my students, they all clocked how bad the ref was. So go on.
He was horrible. But let me say, we didn't lose because of the ref.
Mm-hmm.
But man, and this might sound horrible again, but it's always when we play against a certain teams
Oh God, Chris, don't.
that refs aren't so good. I mean, I know we placed third tier and second tier refs were horrible, but I liked the refs so far in this league, and
Yeah, okay, actually, yeah, that's true.
it's not the first time this season where a certain team of a bigger club where things happen which other people find odd. Maybe in the match against Real Madrid Castilla against Ibiza,
Okay. You might have to
there was
remind
a red card or a penalty, and that like was nothing. And there was another match. I don't want to say, but I, this was horrible. This ref was horrible.
you have said it, Chris, and your point has been made. Actually, but it's funny when I was sort of going through in my head. Then I can picture me. I did jump out of my seat a lot and did shout a few times. So I think maybe I wasn't as happy as with him as I remembered. Okay, then, guys, let's go to Jumbo and Biznaga. Quite a tricky week, I think. Well, for the no, actually, probably not. Now I think about
It's
it.
pretty easy.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do the hard one first then. Jumbo, Alex, who are you going to give your Jumbo to?
I'm going to go with Manuel Molina. Just, not a lot. Maybe he just needs to come off the bench and have one of those inspiring super sub performances. But so far, I've seen nothing from him.
Okay. Chris, anyone different?
Yes, I'm going to do something I think I've never done before.
Okay. I know where this is going.
Bilal.
Thought so.
Wow.
I mean, if you get a chance, you have to get it. That's what I think. He was just horrible. No touch was good.
I've got two names written down here, and neither of you have said them. And I was sort of hoping one of you might say it, and I might lean that way. The two, Molina's probably third on my list, but I've got Gennaro and Dione. I thought Dione was a bit anonymous in this game as well. I'm going to go Gennaro. I still just think he's not there. I think he's sloppy. He always, he's not doing it for me this season. Actually,
He's losing the ball in situations where he shouldn't lose the ball.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I was going to give him Jumbo. Right, this is the easy part. So if you want to give some honourable mentions, Alex, that would be nice too. So who is your Biznaga? Who is your best player in this game?
I'm going to give it to Alfonso Herrero. I think the save is the cherry, the icing on the cake. I thought Roberto played quite well, put himself about. The width, La Rubia and McKevin. I think wasn't their best game, but I definitely also don't think it was their worst game. I think they put in some chances. The back four again, fairly solid. I think I really like the partnership of Nelson Monte and Aina Galilea. I think as much as I really want to see Juan De doing well, it's just hard to replace those two because they work so well together. But yeah, Herrero is my Biznaga for this week.
Okay, I'll just lead on from what you said there, because my Biznaga is going to be Herrero too. Amazing that double save. But my honourable mentions were going to be the two centre backs actually, Aidnar and Monte. I thought they were both really good again. I keep saying it. I think Monte's been our most consistent player. Actually, I don't think he's done anything wrong so far all season. You said about Kevin and La Rubia. I just think they were just too inconsistent in this game. Each of them had moments where they did bits, but not much. Chris, your Biznaga.
Herrero Rocher.
I was trying to quickly think what the slogan is for Herrero Rocher, but I just can't. Something about an ambassador.
Why are expensive chocolates?
But like what you said, Matt, if there is one part of the pitch that isn't worrying me, it's defense. I think that's our strongest line of the pitch.
Yeah,
I'm worried more about midfield with Genaro and La Rubia and Kevin not really getting those crosses in, or not. Like, they bring danger, but not enough.
Okay.
We've come a long way from Mathieu Payburn and David Lomban at the
Yeah,
back.
I totally agree.
I think they both bring danger. I think in this game they didn't. They did.
There is something missing, if you ask me.
I think it's just youthfulness. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying they're perfect at all. Obviously, there is something missing, but I think they don't worry me. I'm more worried about that double centre midfield pairing, because I thought Danny Lorenzo and Genaro looked pretty good at the start of the season, but like you said, Danny Lorenzo's been a bit meh. I think Genaro's been, and no one. Yeah, we've got we've got four of them. Remember, we got Juanpe as well, and obviously we've got who have I forgotten? Manu Molina. So yeah, Sangali as well. He's the one that's been probably the best of the lot, and he's sadly injured.
But we also have Ramon, who is coming in a few weeks.
God, what a hopefully
Michael is still to come. He can't play in the center, but maybe a change for Kevin, maybe.
Well, yeah, and like I think if anything, like you can make your jokes, yada yada. He loves Kevin, etc. But I think his wing, I think he's got that at the moment. I think he's quite hard to displace. I think that right wing's more open, personally.
I have seen Kevin doing a lot of defending this season, which he's done pretty well.
Well, I used to turn up every week with my tackling stats for him, saying, "Look, he could play as a wing back." Yeah. And I still stick to him.
But then again, his tackles are dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, he's yes, but he's a dangerous man.
I'd rather him have the occasional dangerous tackle than do a David Lomban. Sorry, not David Lomban. I've got that name in my head now. Loren Zuniga, who just sort of seems to, not do anything dangerous.
Yeah, but Loren Zuniga, if you like, if somebody would shoot a ball from Mars to Earth, he can touch it with his foot. If you can do it,
he's on the end of that. I don't know if you've seen that video of Peter Kay kicking a football going, have it. I reckon Loren could control that.
You are underestimating him. And that's sad, because that touch, the touch of God.
What's the name of the guy, the Red? Was it Baumgartner, the guy that jumped from space for Red Bull? Felix Baumgartner. He could control him if he's falling.
He could even control Apollo 51 coming down to Earth.
Yeah, put him in front of goal. It's not happening. Right, I think we very much agreed on our Biznagas there as well. So there you go. We have beaten the mighty. Oh, sorry, we haven't beaten them at all. We've drawn against the mighty Real Madrid brackets. Their kids. But now we've got the real gritty stuff coming up. We have a local derby away to Antequera. So we haven't mentioned this yet, so we should probably mention it at the start of our Antequera preview. There's been bedlam on the Costa del Sol. Everybody wants a ticket. We've all been joking about, if I got a ticket in this lottery, I'm going to be like Charlie Bucket and skipping down the street. And they're hard to find, and it's all magical. And then about 24 hours ago, Chris Marquez puts in the WhatsApp group, I got a ticket. In the end of the draw.
Out of nowhere.
Congratulations.
I still don't know how.
I don't know. It sounds like
stand in front of the camera and make sure no one blocks our view from the
TV. What happens? I'm working, and as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it last week on the pod. I became a member of the best peña
Well, it sounds like it.
you find on the Costa del Sol. It's the Peña of Archidona. For those who don't know Archidona, it's a really small village next to Antequera.
All right.
And
Oh,
we
wait a
have-
second. Just sorry to interrupt you. I've just realized I knew the name. Ken from the tavern went there last weekend because they had a big dinner to celebrate their anniversary.
yes, they did.
About olive oil. There was something
Yes,
everyone was saying, did you get olive oil?
yes, because that's their reward they give to certain people. They give olive oil.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no worries. And it's a really cool peña. A friend of mine who always comes to the football with me. You didn't meet him yet. That still has to take place. But is from Archidona, and they were together with us in Malaca when we were there. My friends have traveled with them a lot, so they decided this season they were going to join the Peña of Archidona because they did that for the past few seasons. And of course, I'm joining that adventure as well. As I said, it's the best peña from Malaga.
Okay.
So I'm working, and WhatsApp turns up, and it's the friend of our from Archidona that says, "Does any of you want to go to the Antequera match?" And me and the friend who was with me last Saturday said we were talking about it and we wanted to go, but I couldn't be asked to join the lottery, so I totally forget about it. And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And then that friend of Saturday said, "Yeah, why not?" And he said, "Let me ask." And then he sent it back a day later. "You're sorted."
As easy as that.
I don't know.
You've just walked through the gates of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Yes.
Actually, I should say, in the end, I sort of decided I could not be bothered with this sort of lottery
Yeah,
system.
me neither.
I'd already booked my flights to Bilbao by then. I thought I'm going to do my own little trip, but I'm glad you are going. I'm glad one of us is going and gets to see.
El Nuevo Mauli.
Yes.
But I'm worried as well a bit because from what I've read, it's a high risk match.
Is it now? Because I know they were talking about it being high risk, and I weren't sure if it'd been decided yet.
It is a high risk match.
Yeah. Which, even the fact they were talking about it isn't good, isn't it? I believe that, for those that don't know, I sort of did make a reference to it in my opening rap, that when Antequera went up and Malaga were all pretty much confirmed to go down, there was, again, I think it was a minority, but it was quite a lot actually, but not like
quite a lot.
Yeah, but I'm not saying the whole of Antequera's fan base hate Malaga, but there was quite a lot of chanting about, I can't remember the exact chant now, but celebrating Malaga's demise and Antequera's rise.
And singing bad stuff about being sons of.
Yes. So that's why I'm guessing it's been high risk. And because I don't think there's any issues at the Costa del Sol trophy was there, but I guess that's a little bit more control friendly, whereas this is in, as you've just said, the stadium is not a big place, and it's not a place that's used to hosting 600 to 700 away fans. So
I don't really know what to expect, to be honest.
To be honest with you, Chris, if I don't know what to expect for you either.
I like a laugh. I like a little bit of craziness, and I like a beer or 20, 50 if we're having fun. But at the end of the day, I'm going to see a football match,
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly my style. Right, yeah. So Chris will be we can give us the lowdown on our next week's pod. I say us, I won't be on next week's pod. I will be in Baracaldo. No, I'll be in Bilbao when you record, I'm guessing. No, I'll actually be at Baracaldo when you record. Oh.
Next week will be bonkers.
Yes, you can perhaps we'll talk about what you're going to do next week at the end, just to finish off. So just to sort of go through this, actually, that's another question. Then I'll ask Alex first, then, because, and then Chris, you can perhaps give a more of an answer since you'll go into the game. But obviously, like this has been talked about since the start of the season as the derby because we're the two clubs in the province of Malaga. Does this feel like a big derby to you, Alex, from sort of having watched this build up from afar?
Personally, and this is, I am a bit more of a, I think Chris would have a better idea. I say no. It's time to tick off the weekly Yeovil bingo. It feels a bit like Yeovil versus Weymouth in terms of Weymouth think that they're rivals with Yeovil, which they are, but Yeovil kind of look down at it as like it's just Weymouth. So I have a feeling Malaga will. Some Malaga fans, I don't know. From my point of view, I'm looking at it down. It's just Antequera. I know it's going to be a tough game, but I don't have that sense of it's going to be a big rivalry.
Okay. I'll before I ask Chris, then I'd say I'd sort of agree with you to an extent. Oh, I did agree with you, but this whole madness with the tickets and the fact they are so close to us in the league, I think does give a little bit more to it than it would have. Chris, like you've obviously perhaps got better connections to this area than us and know the sentiments of the fans perhaps a bit better. Is this a big derby in general, or is this just a big game for this season?
I think it's a big brother syndrome where we don't care at all. And it seems that in Antequera they care a lot.
Okay.
And if you ask me why there's such a run on tickets, there has been a run on tickets all season.
True.
We always got 2,000, 1,500 tickets near those numbers. And now we're getting 600. And the fact that everybody wants to travel away. Not everybody wants to sit in a bus for 18 hours or for 16 hours to go to, I don't know where we went. We went to a lot of places.
But I know Castellon's probably the furthest so far.
Yeah. But then also, Huelva is also like, I wouldn't say far, but well, it is far in a bus.
Well, yeah, it's funny, I guess, like, because I heard a few people in pre-season saying, like, I'd perhaps even say people, Giri's saying that, next season is going to be fun because lots of the teams are in Andalusia. And you're like, well, yeah, that's true. But Andalusia is massive.
Like, how many hours did you spend in the bus to get there, Matt?
I didn't go to Huelva, but Huelva would be 3.5. It was about 3.5 to Linares. Yeah. So, like, that would be for people like back home. I don't know, Alex, you can help me out here. Like, when I lived in Manchester, that would be like me going, I don't know, not far from the south coast.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, to give you an example, south coast like Bournemouth, Southampton, up to say Carlisle, which is on the Scottish border. That's about 7 hours on a coach.
Which I think is how much the fans travel to Castilla.
Yeah. Anyway. And that's fun, but most matches are at 8 o'clock at night. So the time you arrive back home is also very late.
Yeah.
And people have to work, and this one is close by. It's an hour drive. You can go with your own car. So everybody wants to go to this match because it's close by, not because we are playing against Antequera. Because
I'd agree with that.
People in Malaga don't really care about Antequera.
There's probably a little bit more intrigue because they're nearby and people will know. I bet people have, like, local people will have been to the town of Antequera and perhaps sort of.
It's a beautiful town.
Yeah, I've still not been, actually. It's I was purposely not going, just because I thought in case I go to this game, but I might try and go up there for a game at some point this season if that's not,
They have something very stunning, and that's the Mountain of the Lovers.
Oh, okay. That
same mountain is also called the Sleeping Indian.
Oh, okay.
Because it looks like Indian,
Okay.
Lying on his lying and looking up, lying on his back and looking up. And it's called the Mountain
of Lovers.
Yeah, Mountain of Lovers, because there is this romantic story where they where how do you call it?
I don't know.
Where a couple jumped
yeah.
off the mountain because the families were against it or something like that.
Blimey.
Oh, Chris,
I'm wrong for the people listening, but that's what I got from it. I went for the people who watched Warrior Nun.
Mhm.
You have a castle in the series where they always go back to.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
That one is in Antequera. It's very beautiful, very nice. You can overwatch Antequera. But one of the most beautiful things about Antequera to me was the nature park of El Torcal.
Oh, okay.
That was high on my bucket list.
Well, like Chris, when we've done these sort of things this season, I always try to sort of dig a bit and find these things out, but I've not really bothered this week. So I'm glad you've brought those ideas to the pod for us, because that does sound interesting. I'm definitely going to try and visit at some point. It's on my to-do list, especially like I'll try and go to a game as well and sort of tick the ground off my little sort of ground hopping ventures as well. Just quickly, because you mentioned it earlier, and I didn't sort of put this on our like agenda, but it's a good question. You said, Chris, like the tickets for away fans are like they're just in demand everywhere. Why do you think it has sort of blown up so much this year? Is it just because people got a taste for it at the end of last season and enjoyed it, or I don't know? It just seems.
I think it's just a thing that started last year by the Peñas, by the bigger Peñas, like Fondo Sur, the Peña Benalmiel, your Peña, who have a big deal in it, and also the Peña Universitaria, who are I would say the three biggest Peñas. Maybe not the biggest Peñas, because Malaga hinchas, not sure if they are real Peña, are bigger. But they made it like
I don't know. I got the sense that people quite like, there was this sort of sense of like we all stick together, and this is there's this collective sort of sense of being a community again. If that
but that started last season.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I've been going on and off to away games since I've been here, and there's always like 50, maybe 100 sometimes, and it's great. Like I'm all for it. It's I don't want to go down this path again and sort of start moaning, but the club, if this is going to carry on, the club do need to come up with some system how this is going to work in the future.
It's just a thing that have become a thing. It is a thing now, away games in Malaga.
And it's great, and long may it continue. Usually, we've joked before about Luke Chambers usually sends us. I usually do a bit of research, and then Luke Chambers does an equally good Chambers cheat sheet, as I call it. We've not got one this time, so I don't know if Alex, you've got anything to say about Antequera. I've got one thing I'm going to pull out the bag here, but
no, I'll leave it to you.
Okay. I've got two things actually. First of all, I didn't realize just until I knew they were doing well in the league, but their record is they lost the first two games of the season to Atletico B. Well, they are called Atletico Madrid B, aren't they? And then Castilla, who we've just played, and they've not lost since. They seem to be particularly good away, and they've only won once at home where they beat Atletico Baleares 3-0, but they have drawn at home with Castellon. They're the only team, I think, to take points of Castellon so far this season. So there's quite a mixed bag there. And obviously, I'm going to shoehorn this in. They have a player called Loren Buron. He has got 61 dribbles this season, successful dribbles or successful one-on-ones. He is the second best dribbler in the league. Who's number one?
Kevin.
Yeah. But jokes aside, have you seen like how far ahead he is? He's this Loren Buren's got 61. Kevin's got 81.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I would say that's a little bit of end product myself. Needs to do a bit more of it, yes. But I thought that was quite a fun stat.
You know, we have a saying in Holland which says,
You do. I think from now on, Chris, every week you've got to bring at least one Dutch saying.
yes,
I forgot the one about the cows already, but go on, tell us this week.
fast runners are death runners.
Oh, I thought it was going to be more poetic than that.
No.
But what is it in?
Yeah, give us the deep meaning.
Hardlopers zijn doodlopers.
Oh, okay, well,
the ones that run the fastest will end up dead. That's basically what they say.
Oh, right, crikey, that went dark all of a sudden.
It leads to nothing. Going too fast leads to nowhere. And that's a bit the point with Kevin.
Okay, well, I disagree, but...
How many assists does he have?
Doesn't matter. He's the second best. The best dribbler in the league. That's fun. He's a vibe man. He's not a stat man. He's a vibe man, as I keep saying. Jokes aside, actually, I think he is being a lot more, maybe not in regards to assists, I agree with, but he certainly should have a couple more goals this year. There's the one which was rightly taken off him, the own goal, but it was that one against Melilla where the keeper made that ridiculously good save, and then this week, that corner, actually in the second half this week, he had that amazing sort of shot from the edge of the box, which I thought was hitting the top corner, but it just went over. But I think he's going to get more goals this year. He looks, and he spoke very well in the press conference last week. He seems happy and seems confident, but he even said that he knows he can do better still. Anyways, enough Kevin.
We brought something this summer. Where it was his last chance. Do you remember that episode? It was at the beginning of the season. Some info we had that this basically was his last chance, according to his representative. So
yeah, well, he's taking it at the moment.
He is.
Just quickly then to finish, like little bits off. I did put in here. Do you think Alex? Well, how big a game is this? Because obviously it's still early in the season. Like the point we got on the weekend was meant we've fallen behind Ibiza and Castellón, who've pulled away a bit. Castellón now 5 points clear of us. Ibiza 3 points near us, but ahead of us. But should we be looking at them, or should we just be plodding along ourselves?
I think, especially this early, I mean, any stage of the season, unless obviously there's, mathematics comes into it where you have to, rely on other results. I think, before it comes to that, we should just concentrate on ourselves, try and play the best we can, get the 3 points, and then, we can't control the other results. So just let the other teams play how they play, and then, try and get 3 points every time we turn out.
Yeah, Chris, would ignoring all the sort of derby stuff and things like that, is this sort of an important game for us, or is it still just plod on?
I think when you're a third of the league, every match is important. Okay. And definitely after drawing twice, I think you really need to get back on that winning streak.
Yeah, we should say like it is now, what's the date we record this? The 25th of October. The 9th, sorry, this is going to be our 10th game of the season. We've only recorded a podcast once talking about a loss. I think if you told me that at the start of the season, I would have been absolutely buzzing.
I agree. But being so close now, being so close now to the other two.
Yeah.
This is the point where you stick in their asses.
Right, okay.
or you get behind and you can look at their ass from a kilometer distance.
Is that a Dutch proverb as well?
No, that's a Chris Marquez one.
Chris Marquez, get that on a t-shirt. Let's get the t-shirts out there. You can either stick it up their ass, or stick up their asses, or watch their asses. I like it. Yeah, I sort of agree to an extent. Actually, I still think Castellón are going to go away with it. But I think, let's go back to what we said earlier. I think come December the 1st, and we've got through this November, or whenever we play, maybe when we play Algeciras, I think we'll have a better idea of what sort of season we're looking at. Are we looking at playoffs, the top, middle, hopefully not the bottom? I did have a quick look at how far ahead we are of the relegation points. We're 13 points ahead at the moment, but let's, it has fallen apart before, so I'm not going to mock that too much either. Really quickly, guys, is there any sort of major change you'd want to see in the team? I'm guessing we all sort of want to see Manu Molina dropped. I think we all agree centre back, the defence is sorted at the moment. Is there anyone you want to see come in the attacking roles, Alex? Or
no, I think Dione and Roberto are a good partnership. I think
I would still swap them both.
Swap them as in position wise. Yeah. No, I think in terms of actual man-to-man changes, I wouldn't, other than Manu Molina, I wouldn't make any other changes. If there's someone who's raring to go and puts in a brilliant performance in training, maybe. But other than that, I'd keep it as is, other than Manu Molina.
Okay. Chris, any major changes for you?
I'm still wanting Hightam to make his debut.
When is he coming back? Do we have
he did warming up on Saturday, but
I think I saw a headline today, and admittedly I didn't have a chance to really read it, that he has sort of said to Pellicer that, get me out there.
Yeah.
I believe. So actually, to be honest with you, Chris, you're very useful with your Hightam support, because I do still sort of forget about him and think, oh yeah, that's a good one to come in. And like you said, La Rubia, and I sort of defended Kevin a bit, but and him too. It is good to have him pressuring.
They can't play every match.
No, exactly.
Because to know for Kevin and for La Rubia that there are players who can take their place the moment they slip. Because I think these younger players need to have that rivalry between them. Every football player needs it, because you will get sloppy, because you will lose focus when you know you're going to play each week.
Yeah, and we've mentioned him before, and I think he's still a bit of an injury hit at the moment, but Jorge Hernandez has done very little wrong in a Malaga shirt so far too, so there's perhaps a little bit more experience pressure on them both too.
And I think, isn't Victor ready to come back?
Yeah, he can't be far off, because he's been very important in an attacking sense, and I don't think Dani Sanchez has done much wrong, but yes, as soon as Victor's back, I would get Victor Garcia back in. He has been excellent. So that's it for this week's podcast. Chris, I'm not here next week, but it's a spooky time of year. Do you want to tell me what's going on next week? Or
we are, for the first time ever, it didn't make sense last year, because it just doesn't make sense without being able to see us. But now with YouTube, we are going to do it. We are having Halloween GearyCast next week. Halloween is coming to the GearyCast.
Yeah,
and
really trying to think of a quick pun, but I can't think of anything.
And it's going to be so much fun.
Ooh.
Because I have such a great costume.
Yeah. I was about to say, I won't spoil it too much, but it's how many years we've done this podcast? 3 or 4 years. Before we press record tonight, it's the first time Chris Marquez has flashed me.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at
that's all I can say.
And if that doesn't get you excited for next week's pod, nothing will.
Yes. So what I want to say to everybody, if you normally listen to us on Buzzsprout, make sure that next week you're not listening. You're going to YouTube and watch the thing. And it's going to be a fun episode.
Unless you listen on your commute to work, in which case stick with Spotify. Don't watch.
There's another thing I want to say, because it's almost happening. We have something coming up.
Okay, carry on.
there is a Giricast meetup coming up
Oh yes, that's worth
in less than a month's time. It's against Malaga Alcoyano. Do we know the date?
I don't know the date. It's on
18th of November, Saturday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I knew it was 6 Saturday.
Yes. So what are we doing on the Giricast meetup? Well, we're going to have grab some food together. We're going to walk through the city center, drink beer. There you can meet other Malaga fans, international Malaga fans. Most are from Yorkshire. That's another thing.
Ran with me, maybe.
Yes, with Matt, and it will be the first time the whole Giricast squad will be together.
I
Wow.
will. I didn't even think of that. That's fun. Alex, no sort of heritage British acts are to take you away this time, like Elton John.
No, unless Elton John comes out of retirement, no, I'll be there, and my dad will be there as well.
Yes.
Oh, what a treat! There's the headline act.
So if you ever felt the need or had the desire or the big wish to take a picture with the actual real giant, the only one left on Earth, and we have him on the Giricast. The Spanish Football Podcast doesn't have it, but we have an actual giant on the Giricast. You want to take a picture with him? Sure, you can meet Alex Ashmore, get a picture with him. Even, I don't know, make a video for your family for Christmas.
Like a freak show here. That's not.
Have you always dreamed of drinking a famous Pacharan together with Matt? This is your chance.
And dare I say, last time I was so giddy, I paid for them all.
Yes. And have you ever felt the need or a big wish to have a conversation with someone you don't understand because he's from Yorkshire? He's your guy. He will be there.
For balance, shall I just say, in case if you ever feel like you want to have a conversation with someone you don't understand because they're from Lancashire? That too. Sorry.
Yes. Do you ever had the feeling of opposites? Because we have a giant. And we also have a little leprechaun from Blackpool, going by the name of Nick Bell. I didn't know what to say about Nick. No, he's not small. Also not big. If you always wanted to meet the guy and learn from the guy who makes all this great artwork for the Giricast, maybe he can give. You want a workshop? He can give you a workshop of how to make these great art pieces of the Giricast. Well, Nick is your guy. And if you want your knee rubbed,
I've been frantically thinking, what can we say for Chris here? And of course, we should have said that.
or I don't know, talk about vibrators or any other stuff you can buy in a sex shop or your guy.
Yep. Right. Okay.
No, but it was Alex. You weren't here because you thought Elton John was way more important last year. Matt, how we had the best day ever.
It was a very good day. It was, as I said before, it was probably one of the best 2 weeks I had in a long time, with the Andorra trip via Real Bay and that fun trip, and then coming back to Malaga for the final lap of that trip, and it was very good. It was great fun.
So if you are planning on going to Malaga this season, this is the match you want to be. This is it. This is the moment.
Got it. Don't say no. Come to the game against Alcoyano. That can be on a poster. I even did the pointing.
Yes.
Your Giricast needs you.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah.
I think we should do give tickets.
Okay.
Because everybody wants to meet us. I think
You're overestimating here, Chris.
we are going to give tickets. They're free. They don't cost anything. But you need a ticket to come.
Okay. Your ticket is a winning smile and a Victoria. That's all you need.
Yes, that's your ticket.
Okay, right. Let's end this podcast now. So thank you, Alex Ashmore, and it is good to have you back on Spanish soil for the foreseeable future.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Excelente. And thank you, Chris Marquez.
Thank you, Alex. Stay away from that Kirkland guy.
Yeah, there's a tapping up there. Also, well done to Chris for wearing the coat for the whole podcast. I've just realised must be a very cold house.
I have the window open.
There you go. It's a very nice coat. And thank you guys, the listeners and the viewers, if you're watching us, for joining us tonight. I've been Matt Harrison. You've been listening to the GearyCast on Sport Direct Radio. Adios and vamos Malaga.